What's up, guys? I'm Justin Stenstrom from Elite Man Magazine, and in this video I'm going to share with you why you have to start making money online. So there is a low-key, insidious revolution currently taking place in the United States and actually globally as well. And that low-key revolution that is happening is actually the takeover of technology, and in particular the takeover of technology and jobs. The reason why I feel like it's low-key is because you probably have heard of it already. You probably have seen this. And I'm actually almost positive that you've seen this in your community already, in different avenues, different places. It's already affecting people, and you probably have heard whispers of it on TV or on the radio or whatever else. But it's low key because it's not mainstream, and it should, in my opinion, be all over the news. It should be one of the biggest concerns of politicians and governments and elected officials and community people at large and people on TV and all these big stations and media stations. More people should be talking about this because it is one of the biggest problems this country, and also, like I mentioned, globally, other countries are currently facing, and that is that technology is wiping out industries and killing so many thousands and even millions, probably soon, of jobs out there. This is quickly becoming an epidemic as well. I heard just last week 125 Macy's stores across the country closed down, and I also heard in the same news report that Pier 1 Imports is filing for bankruptcy, and they're pretty much going to be gone really soon as well. And then you look at things like even 10, 15 years, so say 15 years ago in the early 2000s, you had a store called Blockbuster, which I'm sure many of you have heard of, but also many of you younger people probably never stepped foot in one, because in the early 2000s, they were a multi-billion-dollar company. They had so many Blockbusters around the country, and actually I think around the world as well. But a company, a little upstart company called Netflix came around, and they had this new technology where they could actually deliver movies through the mail, and that was the beginning of Netflix. And then of course they evolved a couple years later, and they deliver streaming and all this other stuff on TV, which is even easier and better. But they came along and completely wiped out the Blockbuster business. The whole way that they did their business and how they became a multi-billion-dollar company, because they had better technology, which at the time was just a little bit better in the mail delivery system. A couple years later it was much better, obviously, with the streaming, but their technology was just a little bit better, and it wiped out an entire industry of movie rental stores. That is just the tip of the iceberg. That is sort of the canary in the coal mine of what is to come. There is technology, and it's all online. Things like Amazon and e-commerce and all this other stuff is wiping out all of these industries, especially retail. Retail is the first to go. You look around right now at all these stores, and all the retail stores are closing down. 125 Macy's, a bunch of Sears closed down, I think, last year, and so many others. Retail is the first to go, but it is going to happen across the board in just about every industry. So I know it's kind of scary, and it's actually quite sad as well. Actually, in my hometown, Taunton, Massachusetts, which is about 30 miles south of Boston, Massachusetts, we used to have a mall called the Silver City Galleria Mall. And actually, it's still technically there. It's just closed down, and it's just a giant lot with a building, and there's just emptiness and nothing there anymore. But it opened up in around 1990 or so, maybe even 1990 itself. And for about 20 or 25 years, this mall was incredible. It was always packed. There was people going there. They had all the stores, giant food court, Macy's, Sears, JCPenney, Finish Line, American Eagle. I mean, all the big stores that you see in all the malls, this mall had it. It was incredible. It was a great mall. People came from all surrounding towns, and they were always in this mall buying a bunch of shit. What happened, though, in the past 10 years when Amazon came around and e-commerce and things like that, it slowly started to take effect. And about 5 years ago, it really started to take effect, and people just stopped shopping at malls. They stopped shopping specifically at this mall, and they were shopping more and more online. And slowly, all the stores couldn't afford the rent anymore. They were actually losing money by paying the rent to the buildings to stay in this mall, and they weren't selling enough shit to people because people weren't going to this mall anymore. So slowly all the stores died down, and they closed one by one, and just actually a few weeks ago, the whole mall in and of itself closed down, and it's just an empty lot now. And That, unfortunately, as sad as that is, because I have some incredibly fond memories of going to this mall and hanging out with my friends and walking around and just buying stuff and seeing stuff in person, unfortunately, this is a microcosm. It's almost the tip of the iceberg of what's to come. This is going to happen. My prediction, unfortunately, again, I say this not to try to be right. I actually hope that I'm wrong, but I know deep down that this is what's going to happen. Every mall across the country at some point soon in the next 5, 10, 15 years will close down, just like this mall did as well. You see it already. There's already people leaving the malls, even the most popular malls. They're already leaving those malls and they're shopping online. And what's going to happen is the rent's going to become too high for these places to keep staying in business, and slowly they're going to keep dying down more and more. The 125 Macy's around the country that just closed down last week or a couple of weeks ago, they also at one point, I'm sure, were doing great. But all those shoppers that were going to their malls or their places where they were doing business, they're now going online. And unfortunately, that's the reality of the climate that we're currently living in. Again, you don't have to work at a mall to be concerned about what's happening here either. There are so many industries across the board that are being affected by technology. Just off the top of my head, I can think of, like we mentioned, the Blockbuster thing, the movie store thing is just gone. That was one industry completely unrelated to working at a mall that is currently gone as well. I'm thinking of taxis as well. Uber came around about 5-10 years ago, and now taxi companies are basically extinct. There used to be that medallion thing that was worth, I remember in Boston they had it, and it was worth like a couple $100,000 to own a medallion so you could have your own taxi. It's currently worth like maybe $10,000. So it dropped 10 or 20 fold in its value just over the past couple of years, because Uber and Lyft have taken over that industry and basically made it extinct. Also, things like Uber Eats, on that sort of related topic, that industry, the Uber Eats, the delivery and restaurants. Restaurants are also going out of business. You look around, there are so many restaurants closing down as well because less people are going out to eat. More people are staying in. They're streaming their movies and they're just ordering food so it can be delivered on their front door. So those are just a couple of industries. There are so many more. If you are watching this video and you can think off the top of your head of the job that you do, if there's some technology that's already coming around, or that you can see maybe a technology in a couple of years, the next couple of years coming into that industry, it's kind of hard to brainstorm what's going to be invented, but you can kind of figure out if your job is safe. And if it's safe, totally cool. Some safe jobs that are probably going to be around for at least another 50 to 100 years are policemen, firefighters, nurses, doctors, things like that, even lawyers, things like that where you need people to be in those jobs. And also guys like electricians and carpenters and things like that, like trades, those are going to be around for a long time. But if you're not in one of those fields and you may be on the fence about your job potentially being just completely leveled by some kind of upcoming technology, you got to really think about getting online and actually foolproofing yourself from the harmful effects of technology. And as they say, if you can't beat it, you got to join it, and that's what I'm here to tell you to do today. So unfortunately, like I said, it's very sad, and I really do mean that truly from the bottom of my heart. It is very sad what's happening right now across the country with so many jobs going away, technology just crushing a lot of things and ruining industries, and also ruining and changing the way that we actually live and experience life. Because like I said before, I remember having incredible fond memories, going to the mall, hanging out with friends, walking around, going on dates. These restaurants I've talked about, bars, are going to be gone, a lot of them. I mean, there's just so many things that are going away, and we're actually forced more and more to stay inside our houses and just be by ourselves, or if we're married, be with our spouse. But a lot of people are getting forced to be isolated with this upcoming technology, which is scary, and there's a whole bunch of health effects that has as well that we'll talk about in other videos. But what's really happening here is a lot of industries are being taken over, and if you are in one of these potential industries, you got to think ahead and project yourself into the next couple of years of what you're going to do when your industry is gone in 5 or 10 years. You got to have a backup plan, and that backup plan is actually getting online today and actually working and figuring out some of these skills that you can have in the long run. So I've been in online business now for probably 7 or 8 years, and the first half of those years I was horrible at online business. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just kind of winging it and figuring things out as I went along. But over the past few years, I've done an incredible job at actually becoming profitable in online business, figuring out a good strategy and knowing what I have to do every single day to implement systems where I can actually make a good, decent living. And the truth is, I'm not actually a good business person. If I was a good business person, I'd be a multi-millionaire by now for sure. But I do pretty well. I actually do fairly well overall. I have a couple different businesses that I do online, and I've learned a lot about what it takes to start a business and run a business. Now, I'm telling you today that you don't actually need to start your own business to make money online. You don't have to do what I did and take 7 or 8 years and mess up for 3 or 4 of those years and not make anything before you start to make real money. You don't have to do that to actually make money. You can start making money a lot faster, and you don't need your own business to start making that money. In fact, there are so many ways to make money online. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I'll just rattle off a bunch of ways to make money, and I won't even do the subject justice because there are hundreds of more ways to actually make money than what I'm going to say in a second. But literally, I mean, you could go online, Google or YouTube something else, and just see how to make money, and dozens upon dozens upon dozens of things will pop up. Some of them will be shit and they'll be useless, but many of those actually do work. The easiest thing to do, however, is not to try to take a shortcut into making quick cash, but to actually develop a skill, or even better, a multitude of skills, like 3, 4, 5 really good skills, and then use those skills to be high income skills, to then work for somebody else who has, someone like me who needs some of these things done, or someone else like me who's doing similar things that needs a bunch of shit done and doesn't have the time to do all these things himself and actually is making good money and can pay you. You go and leverage that because you have a high income skill. You have one of these skills that they need to operate their business to make good money. You just come in there and do that 1 or 2 skills, and you're making a ton of money off this guy because it's affordable and it helps him out, and you need that job yourself, so you're going to be making a ton of money by doing the work for him. This is the greatest insurance plan that you can have. It's not waiting around for, say, the government to bail your ass out in 3, 5, or 10 years when your industry goes away and you have no job and you're about to be homeless, or hoping God magically comes down from the clouds and bails your ass out and fixes everything and turns life how it was 15, 20 years ago when before technology took over and all this crazy shit happened, where technology was everywhere and ubiquitous and life was great back then. Or just hoping that for some reason your industry is going to hang on, even though you have a feeling deep down inside that it's probably going to be affected by technology, and hoping that you don't get hit by it. Chances are you're probably going to get hit by it, if you even think that way. So the greatest insurance plan is to get 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 high income skills that you can leverage to then go to a couple of people online, maybe a few different people, or maybe just find one good person, or a couple different companies, or a couple different businesses, or just one good business where you can leverage your talents to get a lot of money from these people or companies, and just do that 1, 2, or 3 things that you do really well. And the cool thing is that companies and businesses will actually pay you a ton of money because there aren't a ton of people actually doing this. As big as the online business is, as big as e-commerce is, as big as Amazon is, as big as influencer marketing is, and all these people doing other YouTube videos and podcasts and getting sponsorships and all this other stuff, as big as that whole industry has become in the past few years, it's still in its infancy. And there's still so many people out there that have no idea how to actually make money online and what they can actually do, and that there are actually a ton of jobs out there available for them to do. So many people just are clueless, and I don't even blame them because they're doing their own thing. They're working hard throughout the week, but they have no idea that there's this whole other world out there just waiting for them to come into. And if they get in, the faster they get into this world, the faster they start learning some of these skills, the better and more ahead of the curve they're going to be when everybody else floods into this world in a couple of years. If they flood into this world in 3, 5, 10 years from now, it's going to be saturated. All these jobs, a lot of these available options and things that people can do right now are going to be gone because there's going to be so much more people in this industry already. But if you get on the horse right now and you jump into it now and start learning a couple of key things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas, high income skills, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. And I'm telling you, you're going to be so much better off, and this insurance plan is going to kick in when you're making a ton of money. So Off the top of my head, I'm just going to rattle off a ton of jobs that are available, a ton of skills that are available for you to learn in the next few years. And by the way, you can start learning these skills while you still have this job, this 9 to 5 job, whatever industry you're in, retail, whatever it is that you think may be affected in the next couple of years, you still keep that job. You just learn on the side. It's kind of like the side hustle thing, which I think is a stupid term because it's overused. But it's true. It's like a side hustle thing where you're working your regular job, but when you come home, you spend 3-4 hours learning and dedicating yourself to getting proficient in this area. But some of these areas are copywriting, marketing, ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Google ads, podcast editing different shows, editing YouTube videos, putting up different artwork, like drawing different things, and logo making and designing things. Basically, and I'm kind of cutting corners here because I was going to list out some more shit, but basically anything that people do online, all these industries offline, all these industries that are offline that people have regular jobs for where they're doing specific work and people pay them for a service, all this stuff is going online. Like I just thought of that when I did the logo design and the graphic design and all that shit. There's already businesses that do that offline, but that's coming online. And if you're a good drawer, you know how to use your hands, you know how to be creative, design shit, I mean, that is your industry. They will pay top dollar for you to be someone who can do that for them. And here's some more as well. Copywriting, blogging, website design, SEO, coding, all of these things and so much more. I'm trying to think of even more because there's literally everything in business that I'm thinking of that I do on a day-to-day basis, that I work with people, that I hire people to do. Everything that comes to the website, to selling to the customers, to marketing to the customers, to delivering the product. Every step along the way, there is something there that you can do and set and actually be adept at that skill, and then position yourself as someone who can make a lot of money when you deliver that skill to someone who needs it. And I'm telling you, there are so many people who need this. There's so many influencers now. You look on Instagram, you look on YouTube, look on Facebook with thousands, tens of thousands, millions of followers, and they don't even know how to do half the shit that I'm talking about right now. Actually, they probably don't know how to do most of the shit that I'm talking about. So they hire different people to do this type of stuff so they can actually make money. If you get good at just one of these areas, even say funnel building or the marketing or the Facebook ad side of things, you can completely take over the way someone makes money. So if they're not making a lot of money because they don't know how to do any of this shit, but they have a bunch of followers on Instagram, you could be their Instagram guy and then actually start showing people how to make money off their followers on Instagram, and the whole DM thing, the follow back thing, and growing the Instagram, growing the platform. Same thing with YouTube, same thing with Facebook. You could be the funnel guy and put these people through funnels and build out funnels and sell them that way. Or you could be the ads guy who completely shows them how to actually take people when they don't have an audience, or if they do have an audience, how to build those people from warm people that follow them to actually people who are buying their shit. A lot of these people, a lot of these influencers have absolutely no idea how any of this stuff works, so they have to hire different people. And many times they're not even making a lot of money because they don't even know to hire people. So it's that bad. You reach out to people who have 1 million followers, and sometimes you figure out that this person really ain't making all that much money because they don't have the idea, they don't have the slightest idea of what it takes to actually make money. So then you come in with the whole strategy. You could take over and make half their money. So if they have 1 million followers, that's probably $1 million worth of shit they could have per year they could be earning, and you could take half of that because you know how to actually do it. Yeah, they have the followers, but they don't have the process. If you have the process, you're making all the money. The same thing with people who know how to do this stuff, or they know that they have to hire a team. You could be part of that team. You could be making serious money if you're delivering the customers to their doorstep so that they actually buy. Because they may be an influencer, but they don't know how to do the whole thing, or they need help with the whole process. And you come in and are an integral role of that process. I'm telling you, you're going to be making bucks. You're going to be making serious bucks when you do this type of stuff. I'm telling you, there are literally so many jobs out there that you don't even know exist, and so many opportunities for you to make a ton of money. Jump ahead of the curve today. Get ahead of the wave that's coming very soon, because it is coming and so many people are going to flood this online world. Get into it today. Even if you spend 2, 3, 4 hours a day, learn one of these skills. Just pick one skill for now. You don't have to go crazy and try to learn a bunch of different things. One skill for now, Dedicate a few hours every single night to learning that skill so you can be ahead of the curve when this tidal wave of technology comes in a couple of years and just wipes out a bunch of more industries and all these people flood online. You're going to have the jump start on them. Like I said, there are so many different examples of ways you can make money. I mentioned a bunch of them. Facebook ads, funnel building, marketing, SEO, copyright. There's so many different things. There are literally endless things. I've just thought of a few off the top of my head. But do your research, figure one of these key areas out, figure out something that you think you're going to be good at, test it out, start learning about it, and start getting into it today. Even if you don't quit your job tomorrow, learn this skill so you have it tomorrow and so you can actually have it in the future. I'll be honest, it's kind of scary what's happening. I'm kind of worried myself and concerned about where the future's heading in the next 5, 10, 20 years. But I know the more that I spend in this new world that's coming, the technological world, the online world, the more I learn it and understand it and figure it out, the safer I'm going to be, the better off I'm going to be, the better insurance policy I'm going to have myself, so that when this crazy shift in the way that we live life happens, because it's already happening, but it's going to get even crazier in the next few years. When this happens even more and gets more crazier, I'm going to be ahead of that already, and I'm going to be safe at least for a few years afterwards, and we'll figure out. I'll be on my toes. I'll be making videos like this to keep ahead of it and just stay away from the inevitable crash that's going to happen. But the best thing that you can do, and the thing that I recommend the most, is to also understand this world. Get into this world today. Get yourself online. Start making money online as quickly as you can. But that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like below and share in the comments section which high income skill you want to learn. I want to know what you're going to do to protect yourself from the tidal wave of technology that is coming and is going to destroy many more industries in the next couple of years. What are you going to do to keep yourself safe and have an insurance policy? Which high income skill are you going to choose? Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the notification bell to get notified the instant we release a new video, and follow me on Instagram at Justin Stenstrom.